the platform of the holistic health people, and we're gonna still be there until we build ourselves up. But I do have a question that I want to pose for you. If I were to charge a membership fee, not for the podcast, but for the rest, teachings, trainings, the Q&A, how many would be okay with that if it was a very low fee? Like a monthly fee. Who would be okay with that? So 4 of you would be okay with that. Who would prefer no monthly fee, but if you want the Q&A, if you want the classes, if you want any of those kinds of things, there would be a fee for that. Pay as you use, yes. So you prefer that than a monthly fee. Okay, you got it. Hi, my dear. Good, you're here. Find a spot for Lindsay, guys. And a packet somewhere. Yeah, Bridget.
I have no problem with the fee as of right now, but I would just suggest that those that can't afford it.
Oh, I have no problem with that. Anybody who can't afford it, that's not an issue. But I'm leaning toward the second option anyway. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for that feedback. But listen, good stuff going on there. Just yesterday, grief and loss, victory over grief and loss went up. And next week, trauma recovery, overcoming trauma. Does anybody have any other announcements before we dig in here? Anything they want to say about themselves, their business, their life, their whatever? No? Okay. Well then,
stuff next time, like fall and
for selling? Okay. Wonderful. And look what Dottie brought me. I love it. All right, first time you. Tell your name again? Terry. And you came with Joan? Okay, we're glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Welcome. Okay, well, I thought what we would do is start with a little movement. I know you're eating, but you know how I like to do those locograms, those sociometric exercises where we look at how we are in relationship to one another. So I thought what we would do is a spectrogram, actually. So this is going to be a line. Remember we did one with our birthdays before? We're going to actually do one. Nobody remembers that?
No.
I want you to line up along this grid here, Likert scale. 0, I do not like celebrating my birthday. I don't like celebrating birthdays. I don't like acknowledging that. I would rather the date just be the next day. All the way down to, I mean, they're okay. I kind of like them. I'm obsessed with birthdays. Everyone should have their birthday acknowledged, and it should be celebrated because it's important, and I love throwing them and getting them and all of that. So down here, 0, all the way down here, 10. So put yourself where you think you should be. Say it again.
What if your birthday hasn't been celebrated in so long you don't have any idea?
Oh, you're still voting on how you think about it and what you want. All right, let's see. Yeah, this is the middle. Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not the right spot. I know. No, I need to be down there, actually. No, but I don't like it. But I do like to celebrate it. All right, so everybody feels pretty okay with where they went? So Joanne, you're down there.
I am way down.
You're like in the negative range. I don't like to celebrate birthdays. Okay.
No acknowledgement, just
let it go. Sandy, you're kind of.
I mean, I'm not.
You're not as
extreme.
anti.
I will accept the gift, okay. But I'd rather. It's just another day.
It's just another day. Well, I make a big deal out of it. Okay. Anybody in here in the middle? What happened with you? Why'd you go where you went?
My birthday is December 28th, and I go
Oh, that's hard. That's rough. That's rough. Okay, so mixed feelings about how it's even been for me for my birthday.
Yeah, my birthday's January 13th, and my whole family, there's 5 birthdays in January. So it's like not.
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's going to be a thing. Yeah, we have the same thing. Mariel?
January 4th, but that doesn't make any difference to me because I like celebrating other people's birthdays because every day we need to be grateful. And I just love celebrating other people.
What about your birthday?
Yeah.
Not so much for you, but for others.
Celebrating my birthday, but I love celebrating
Others.
everyone else.
Oh, that sounds like you, Mary Ellen. Yeah. All right, what about you guys down here? Okay, you're in the 8 category. Okay. Do you want to talk about that?
It was fantastic. Great birthday.
Okay, so we like the birthdays.
But I do like doing stuff for other people more.
Then for yourself.
Well, it's just fun. I like to shop and I like to like do stuff. Fun dinner parties, whatever. And it's okay to go out to dinner myself or to have some stuff. I like it.
But the other people, yeah. Okay. Or what about you guys who are down here at 10 plus?
Celebrate
Or-
all month.
I like to celebrate.
I celebrate all the time. Can't wait. I'm already anticipating my January 31st birthday.
Okay. I love it.
Christmas in July.
It's not about
Yeah.
the age. It's about the fact that God puts you here and you are meant to be celebrated and to help people feel seen and listen to you. And when somebody made a big deal over them, I don't know, it just lights me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
So-
about the age.
well, it kind of is.
Don't limit yourself.
Tell she's younger. Yeah.
No.
She's not in the sunset part.
There's a different perspective with the age, but there's still a general way of being about celebratory.
To the side, just go, I'm here.
So does anyone get depressed around their birthday? Like just, okay, there we are. So this is me around 2 weeks before my birthday, my entire life. So I have to have a good talking to. And it's usually from my daughter, Elise. Mom, your mom was 59 when she died. You're 69. Be happy you're here. God's got a purpose for you. Stop it. So, yeah,
Your children
just stop it.
don't celebrate or you don't celebrate?
No, I do, but I get depressed.
And you pray for it.
No, but she's amazing. Elise gets me out of my thing, and then she's the one that said, we're going to New York. Are you paying? I said, are you paying?
If we didn't have you, you have so much purpose.
Everybody here has purpose.
But your purpose is affecting so many people because you're realizing your purpose. So we appreciate you.
Thank
This is
you.
your birthday celebration, so take it all off.
I am! And I'm so appreciative of all you guys. All right, so let's go.
We sing happy birthday to you.
Yes, of course.
One,
Everybody
two,
loves
three.
you too.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hannah.
Oh, beautiful.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Sheila. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, guys. Oh, yeah. I might do that at the end, Rachel.
Are you going to save time to cut the cake and do all that?
Yeah.
Save time. Okay.
Just talk to me about time when we get there. All right, so you're going to notice that, or you might not notice, actually, because you don't have the cover page, do you? All right, so this is the book that this information is coming from, and this was from research, as I said, done by the Seventh-day Adventist people in their medical community. So what we're talking about today was based on a book called Creation Health Discovery, and it was published by the Florida Hospital Publishing people in 2012. And so I'm going to start with the C of creation, which is choice. Choice. It has to start with choice. And, a lot of clients come in and they say, yeah, I really don't have a choice. No, we always have choices. We just sometimes don't like them. And sometimes the choice options are not as favorable as we would like, but we always can choose. So you've heard it said that success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Harriet is helping me by inspiring me to work out, but I have to go do the perspiration part with her. So how do we achieve wellness? And we do have to start with that inspiration. We also need encouragement, don't we? Like a partner. My daughter said after our trip to New York, she goes, Mom, let's just go on a diet. Let's do it together, and let's check in, let's weigh in, so to speak, with one another. And so we're doing that. And it's helpful when we encourage one another, regardless of what the deal is. And then we need to stay motivated. Motivation comes from the root word modum, or modus, which is movement. So we have to keep moving. We're meant to move. And then we oftentimes need instruction, like how to do this. Rachel's helping me with my face care, and she instructs me on what I should do, because I don't naturally know how to do some of these things. And then we need consistency and commitment. Now, we know that when there's only commitment, or when there's no commitment, and it's only promises, and it's only hopes, and it's not a plan, then it didn't go into action. So that doesn't work either. Now, why do we want to achieve wellness in the first place? For mental fitness, for physical strength, for energy, for health, for stamina, for spiritual engagement, and for interpersonal effectiveness. If we're not our best selves, then we're not really available to be our best self with someone else. And so it's important for all of those reasons. So these principles then are rest, and these are the ones we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks. Rest, our environment, activity, trust, relationships, our outlook, or our cognitions, and our nutrition. So that's the creation. So Kenneth Patton says that we are what we choose, and by the choices and acts of our life, we create the person we are. And if you haven't read anything by Maya Angelou, she's amazing, she's wonderful, and this is a quote from Wouldn't Take Nothing for My Journey Now. I don't know how now is not there, but it's now is the last word in the title of the book. And she says that each of us has the right and the responsibility to access the roads that lie ahead, and those over which we've traveled. And if the future road looms ominous or unpromising, and the road's back uninviting, then we need to gather our resolve and carrying only the necessary baggage. Oftentimes we take the baggage with us, the physical baggage, the emotional baggage, the mental baggage. No, we take only what's necessary, i.e. what we've learned, how we've grown, at what we absolutely need, step off that road and go a different direction. And if the new choice is also unpalatable, then without embarrassment, we need to be ready to change that as well. Right? So we need to remain flexible. One of the things I see that is such a pervasive pattern in mental health that is solid and strong is the ability to roll with the flow, to go with the changes. It's hard sometimes. We don't like all the changes. I don't like all the changes in my own personal life. I don't like all the decisions that people make in my inner circle, but they're not mine. I can only choose what I will do about that, what my attitude will be about that. All right, we need to understand what we believe about making choices and our rationale for them. So here we're looking at, are we intrinsically or extrinsically motivated? An intrinsically motivated person is motivated by just the internal desire to do something. So this is I would do this thing even if I didn't get paid. I will do this thing when no one's looking, because it's already rewarding and fulfilling for me, the act alone, the doing alone of this thing. The extrinsic motivation is more about I'm doing something for some sort of reward, or I'm trying to avoid some sort of punishment. So we want to be intrinsically motivated. We also want to go for always a second order change. A second order change. This is creating a brand new way of seeing things, creating a new neural pathway. And this requires new learning. For transformation to be permanent, we need a second order change instead of a first order change. Does that make sense? All right, and then we look at internal versus external locus of control. So my locus of control is, I either have an internal or an external locus of control. An internal locus of control means that I believe that I have the power to affect change, and that I'm not just something, a puppet, victim to whatever's happening to me. And I'm going to just ask you a couple of questions here from Rotter's locus of control. And if you want to take this assessment, Rotter, here, I'll write it up here. He developed an assessment for locus of control. And I'll do this with people who have a really difficult time believing that they have control and power to choose and that their choices can make a difference. So a couple of the questions from the scale. So without the right brakes, one cannot be an effective leader. Versus capable people who fail to become leaders have not taken advantage of their opportunities. Do you see the difference in that? One is an internal locus of control and one is an external. I've often found that what is going to happen will happen. Trusting to fate has never turned out well for me as making a decision to take a definite course of action. Do you see how that second choice? I'm deciding. I'm choosing. I don't believe that I'm just a pawn in the whole thing. In the long run, people get the respect they deserve in this world. Unfortunately, an individual's worth often passes unrecognized no matter how hard they try. So this is just the hamster wheel belief. I'm on the wheel, I'm trying. No matter what I do, it won't work out. Do you know people like this? Many of my clients are like this. And so this is a place that's going to keep us stuck in depression and anxiety. In the case of the well-prepared student, there is rarely, if ever, such a thing as an unfair test. Many times exam questions tend to be so unrelated to coursework that studying is really completely useless. Now, do we know that's true? That sometimes exams are not related? But this is saying studying is useless, so why should I? It's not going to work out for me, therefore, I just give up. Throw my cards in. I will never win. So Rotter said that when we have an internal locus of control, we can affect more change. And we can bring more change into our lives via other people coming into them. Does that make sense? Yeah, good? All right, in this book, it covered a Yale University study that said that when people felt they were in control of their own medical treatment, they responded more positively to the treatment. Because they were taking responsibility and they had a certain element of control. We like to have some control. We like to be given some choices. I know that when I've been in, I actually haven't been in a tremendous amount of pain ever, but I do remember having a pain pump one time in my life, and just having that there, and I could decide to use it if I needed to, versus waiting for someone maybe to hear the button and maybe to show up. And I didn't use it, but I knew I could. All right, and then, I talk a lot about Viktor Frankl because I love him so much, but in Man's Search for Meaning, he says, I can always decide what I will focus on and the attitude I will adopt toward it. The last of human freedoms is to choose one's own way. I can control how I react, my attitude, and this can make the difference between survival and death, hopelessness and persecution. And this evolved from being in the concentration camps, in the work camps, losing all of his family members. But he said, no one can take away what I decide to think about this, about me, about anybody else. And this is how he gave birth to logotherapy, and which was a completely different spin from Adlerian, power is what we want, or pleasure, which is what Freud said. So a completely different direction. He said that humans are motivated by the search for meaning, for purpose. And then Chuck Swindoll, who knows Chuck Swindoll's writing? Yeah, we love him. In his attitude poem, the line, I love this. I remember having this on my bulletin board when I was working at a job that was so awful, with a boss who was always trying to nail me. I don't know what the deal was with her. I don't know whether I was younger, she was older, whether she wanted to go to school and I'm not even sure what the deal was, but she was horrible to me. And so I kept this there. Like, life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. We are in charge of our attitudes. And I looked at it all the time because my attitude naturally in my flesh was, I want to hurt her. I'm not going to do this project. I don't want to work here anymore. I'm going to get another job this afternoon. I'm going to work on my resume and not even clock in. And I had to remind myself, you know what? She cannot make me be the same as her. I refuse to allow her to turn me into someone bitter like she is. And so I lasted there, and I went in one day, maybe I shared this with you before, I went in one day when she was really trying to nail me on seeing a client in the parking lot who was completely, she had an eating disorder, and she also was frightened of being outside anywhere. And so she couldn't get out of the car. She was throwing up in her car, and therapeutically, legally, ethically, my requirement would be go to her, right? And so she was going to nail me for that. And I walked into her office and I said, so Martha, I just want you to know that God gave me this job. I know that you signed off on it, but I mean, I'll be here as long as he wants me here. And she just stared at me and started adding her numbers on her paper. And I said, so anyway, I'll see you at the staff meeting. Now, I was nervous when I did this with her because she was extremely intimidating. And she could, fire me. But I also knew I was leading 4 of her groups for the county in English and Spanish. And yes, there are a lot of bilingual people, but not that many who are therapists as well. So I kept my job. And then when I was ready to leave, I left. Oh, well, believe me, that wasn't working for her. But that's okay. Many Marthas. Oh, she was a Martha. Oh, yeah. Which one? Chuck Swindoll, Pastor Chuck Swindoll. Yeah, it's called Attitude. Okay, so, and again, back to that study, having the ability to make choices lowers stress and makes pain more tolerable. Again, research study with patient or medical professional administered pain medication. And those of you who have been in or live in chronic pain, you know this is the case. And the more control you can take over your health and your physical and mental and emotional, the less stressful it is. That lowers cortisol. And then I just put in that choice is at the heart of God's plan for us. We're stewards of our body, stewards of our mind, stewards of our emotion, regardless of genetics, regardless of circumstances. And regardless of the environment, we can choose to be healthy. We can choose to be happy in an environment we're in. It is a choice. And then in the book, it says that next to God, your body is your best friend. And Tess, my amazing friend, and if anyone wants a wonderful reflexologist who's also an herbalist and a believer, Tess Free says, next to God, your body is your best friend. You can beat it up, abuse it, neglect it, starve it, but it will still fight for you. Every second of every day. It does the best job it can with what you give it to work with. What you eat, drink, how much you rest, sunshine, water, exercise, and especially what you think influences how well it can fight for you. So work with your body for improved well-being. And those of you who had the opportunity to hear Tess speak at the first Serenata Wellness Retreat, Marla, anybody else there? It's Sandy. Yes. She's amazing, isn't she?
Do you remember when she did that exercise with me where I had to close my eyes and you held the word?
Yes.
Positive and one was a negative, the power in that.
And we know this is the case. And I had a similar thing happen at a training that I went to at one point. And so the person put Hitler on one side and Jesus on the other. And the person holding Hitler could not resist the push for the muscle resistance of the person. And the person holding Jesus was strong. And they didn't know what it said. Yeah, and Marla experienced that. It's,
The word says that the cows are life and death in our time. That we have the power by what we focus on, whatever is true, noble, praiseworthy, of good report.
and this is why when Viktor Frankl developed logotherapy, he said the power of the word I say, the word I think, the word I maintain in my head is critical to my well-being. Yeah.
And in Genesis it said, the Lord spoke, day after day.
The word. All right, I love this next part from this book. The average heart beats 80 times a minute, 4,800 times an hour, 115,200 times per day, 42 million times per year, and the average life expectancy at 80 equals 3,363-ish million heartbeats. Will you work as hard for your heart as it's working for you every day? I love that. I often say to clients, when the uncomfortableness or the pain of being where you are gets greater than the fear and the challenge of being where you're not, you'll make the change. And you'll know when you're at that point of making that change. And this is similar to that. It says, when your motivation outweighs the difficulty in making changes, you will alter your behavior. This was just another study covered in the book. It said 100 physicians were studied. They revealed a health scare by someone motivated only half the people to make health changes. And only 1/2 of those maintained the changes for a few months. And 1 out of 3 then stuck to their healthier plan for a year and beyond. Hey, whether we're in a 12-step tradition because we have addiction issues we need to be working with, or whether we're whatever, whoever we are, it's one day at a time. Every day. Every day. And it doesn't go away. So, and prevention versus intervention is because everything catches up. Dang, and if you don't believe everything catches up, knowing that my husband played 4 contact sports and has had 12 surgeries in the last decade, that's proof in and of itself. And it's all the areas where he, got hit with a hockey stick or got thrown around by a whatever. So, all right. Each of these categories has choice steps at the end, and so here are the choice steps, 4 of them for this section on choice. Decide you want a healthier. And once you decide, take a look and see where do I need to address? We've had the self-care wheels many times, and giving us different ideas about 6 different domains in our lives. And the idea would be, pick something that you're going to do differently. Pick an area. Don't overpick, but also don't underpick. Prioritize. If I choose this, then it means I have to unchoose that. You all said yes to here and no to something else. And so oftentimes that's, well, if I'm going to work out, then I have to see one less client. And Harriet is telling me she's proud of me for doing that.
I've been very proud.
I know.
She's exceptional.
So this is true. This is always going to be the case, right? I have to decide, what will I carve out? And I have clients that are working 2 and 3 jobs and have 0 time. I saw one this morning. He's working 80 hours a week and on multiple medications, psychotropic medications and physical medications, and he now developed dry eye. Where does all this stuff come from? We're not meant to work 80 hours a week in a stressful corporate environment and not get a raise. So we talked today about making a change. And what would that change look like? What about making less money? How would that be for you? Because you might live. I didn't even say longer. I mean, he can't keep doing this. 13 years of that. And a corporate culture sometimes will create that as the norm. This is how we roll here. And you look like you're underperforming if you work 50 hours. So only he can decide. This doesn't work for me anymore. When you start seeing rando things come up, like, come on, dry eye, muscle aches and pains, can't sleep. Well, that's not random. But the rest, what is going on? My body's trying to tell me, you need a break. Your immune system's trying to speak with you. So he said he'd consider a new position. And so we'll see what happens. But that's necessary sometimes. Imagine that, or into his marriage, or into, yeah. All right, and then lastly is take action. And again, sometimes, and I'm this way too, I'm kind of all or nothing, so I'm in or I'm out. But what I know about sustaining something is I need to just stay at it, right? Even if it's a small change. Even if it's a small change. My husband has problems with this. He'll not do any physical activity, and then he'll walk 10 miles. And then he'll go another year, and then, I'm like, I don't know, you need therapy, because this doesn't work. This is not going to work. It's like this. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And SMART goals, right? So we know, everybody remember what SMART goals are? So they're specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time sensitive. Because if I'm not time sensitive, I'm just sort of randomly talking about an idea that might maybe happen. I have to put a timetable to it. All right, do we have time for rest? I don't even know what time it is. All right, I'm going to get through rest, and then we won't be able to get through the E. All right, so, and by the way, there is a podcast covering some of this material on Shrink Rap that came out maybe 2 weeks ago, and it covers a lot of this. All right, so stress is inevitable, but when we talk about rest, there's two types of, we talk about stress, there's two types. There's eustress and me stress. I'm kidding. There's eustress and distress. Eustress is called the good stress. It's the kind of stress that is, I'm going to sing a solo, and I'm kind of nervous, and I've got some adrenaline, but there's the audience, and I can do this. Distress is the kind that immobilizes, and huge production of cortisol, and this isn't beneficial. So good stress and bad stress, if you will. And the eustress increases performance, and even though there's some anxiety there, it dissipates. Have you had that experience? Yeah, it dissipates once I'm in there, once I'm doing my thing. All right, rest and recovery balance out stress. We need rest for the mind. We need rest for the body. Athletes make recovery part of their workout, their training. That the muscles are going to reach their full potential if there's breaks. So that has to be part of the deal. Delta wave, slow wave sleep. This is the kind of sleep we need. And one of the things I learned from Tess when she was talking at the Serenata Wellness Retreat was that we don't necessarily need a pocket of sleep that's one solid, but we can have a couple of them, right? So as long as we go into that deep sleep, we could have maybe a pocket here of 5 hours, maybe wake up to pee, and then another, is that going to be on the thing? And then another couple hours. Most people need about 7 to 8. Some people need more. I have a client that says, I have to get 10. And she kind of does, because if she doesn't get the 10, she's kind of difficult. But other people, I've been a 6-hour sleep person my whole life. You too, Q?
No, I'm
I'm a 9. I'm a 9. Well, together we make my age, so there you go. But anyway, as I'm in that restful quality sleep, I am actually re-energizing. I'm forming white blood cells to fight disease. And this is why immune systems get so weakened when someone is not getting quality rest over a prolonged period of time specifically. Sometimes we don't listen to our bodies. Sometimes I don't listen to my body. I'm just being honest here. Our immune system's always speaking to us, right? So I'm tired, kind of got a sore throat. I need to pay attention. And I need to pay attention then and not keep going and not take care of it. This was a study from the National Sleep Foundation. 100 million Americans suffer from sleep deprivation. And this was 10 years ago, so I don't know where things are now. Post-COVID, the numbers have gone way up. Okay, now sleep is the number one way to get rest. But look at these other ways. A massage. Largest organ on my body is my skin. Who of you fall asleep during a massage? Start snoring, drool on the thing. Yeah, it's very restful, unless it's the Chinese kind and they go, too hot, you okay? and you're not. Periods of calm, and we don't have many periods of calm in the techno. We have a lot of technoference. We have to decide, I'm pulling away from social media, I'm pulling away from my phone, I'm pulling away from my computer. I can do that some other time, I can do it later, I can, whatever. We have to decide, because the world's not going to decide that for us. The world's not going to take care of us with that. And information overload, lots of stuff competing for our attention. Kids are stressed. I have more kids with anxiety issues at a very young age. Suicide is huge, 10 to 15. So we got to have breaks. We've got to have balance. We've got to have time. We don't need to do a resume in kindergarten. It really is. We're going to be okay. So mindfulness breaks, moments of quietness, meditation, contemplative time with God, prayer. Those mindfulness breaks that we've talked about before, just making a daily routine from that positive intelligence book of every 2 hours. Every 2 to 3 hours, I take a 2-minute mindfulness break. And all I'm doing is paying attention to my breath and maybe looking at something, examining that something. So I'm using my visual, I'm using my auditory, I'm using my tactile. And when I get distracted, and I will, with the shopping list or the what I need to do next or the what just happened before, bring my attention back to my breath. 2 minutes is not long, but I had to set my timer for this thing because 2 to 3 hours goes by very quickly. But what he proved in his research is that this was causing emotional resiliency. When those breaks were in place, people could handle more. They could handle more difficulty, they could handle more challenge, they could handle more disappointment. So I highly recommend incorporating that into your lifestyle. Movement and exercise, particularly if I'm outside, right? So forest bathing, the Japanese say the green, the water, the air, the sun, healing for us. We're meant to experience that. Yaku.
Even taking your shoes off, putting them on the earth, it grounds you.
When Talia and I do our trauma trainings, we often will say, everybody take your shoes off because we're going to ground ourselves. Really ground ourselves. Yeah, touching the earth with the bare feet. And, you know, who doesn't like shoes? Like, I'd prefer to be in my bare feet. Yeah, same. So half of us. Yeah, I really hate the shoes, the socks, the underwear. I don't like anything inhibiting. I know you guys now know a lot. Naked and afraid up here. What about relationships, quality relationships, where I can be my authentic version of me? Restful, life-giving, especially if those people are also positive. This is like taking a nap versus, oh my gosh, I have insomnia emotionally when I'm with someone that I can't be me, and they are difficult, negative. Negative stuff really saps us of energy. All right, a Shabbat or a Sabbath. And guys, you can pray for me actually about this. You remember I was in Israel. I'm seeing a client virtually tomorrow who there was a bomb that went off 50 feet from his house, destroyed the house 50 feet from him as well. And he's struggling greatly in Jerusalem. So just pray for me at 1:30 tomorrow. I don't know what time that is for him, but 7 hours ahead. You feel so ill-equipped. I don't know how helpful I can be, but maybe just talking about it and the fear will be helpful. So yeah, Shabbat. God modeled for us that we needed to take breaks, like a longer break. Create 6 days, rest. And so whatever that looks like, and actually Sylvia, one of my business partners, is a recovered 7-day Adventist, she calls it. And so if you are a 7-day Adventist, no disrespect. She just said the rules were hard for me. But she said one thing that I took with me and I will always apply is on Saturday or Sunday, I don't do anything. I don't do any cleaning, decorate. It's my day. And I center, I read, I might spend time with friends, I spend time with God. And so she'll check in with me on Saturday. Are you Sabbathing? Do I lie to her? Can't lie to her. I loved these quotes, so I stuck them in for you. Ralph Waldo Emerson, finish each day before you begin the next and interpose a solid wall of sleep between the two. And then William Penn, true silence is the rest of the mind. It is to the spirit what sleep is to the body, nourishment and refreshment. And Eleanor Roosevelt, we love her. A day out of doors, we don't say out of doors any longer. Outdoors, someone I love to talk with, a good book, and some simple food and music, that is rest. I agree with that one 100%. And Thomas Kincaid says, our lives were not made for chaos. They were made for calm. So the Nemo story, this is an amazing story. This is an aquarium. I believe it was in the Seattle area. And they get the Nemo fish, the clownfish, in the aquarium in the waiting room for the children, because how great, they're not going to be nervous about the shot. And Nemo kept dying. Over and over, Nemo's dying. So they bring in an aquarium expert, and the aquarium said, well, you've got all the lights on. He needs to sleep. So they chose to begin to dim the lights toward nighttime, and they didn't have to replace Nemo all the time. And we need the same. Listen to this about our heart. During the average life, the heart will beat 2.5 billion times. I hope that lines up with the other stat I just gave you. It might not. And it pumps 1 million barrels of blood throughout your body. It's important to note that between each beat of the heart, it rests. So we need to do the same. Now, did I include in your packet a rest test? Do you see anything like that? Okay, so it's just a couple questions, and then you can kind of check in with yourself. And if you want this, I can get it to you. Do you have to jumpstart your day with caffeine, sugar, or medication? Do you lose concentration often? And how do you refocus? With a nap? With a walk? Or you just deal with it? What about the following? Do you worry, feel stressed, feel panicky? What hurry disease symptoms do you have? Multitasking, overcommitting, crisis-driven, or emotional? Sleep pattern. I don't get enough. I don't sleep deeply. I can't sleep. And then it asks about work level. So as you think about, what does my cycle look like? Do I wake up easily? Do I need any of those things? How's my energy level throughout the day? And what is my sleep like at night? And I give some suggestions on the podcast for what to do about sleep issues. All right, so summing it up. Regular sleep pattern. Breathe. Mindfulness breaks. Meditation, prayer. Mind, body. Progressive muscle relaxation. Using your imagination. Taking an imaginary journey if you can't go on a real journey. Go somewhere in an imaginary way. Get outside. Walk. Move. Movement is medicine. Go on vacation. The average American worker feels they don't have time to go on vacation. The Europeans got this one right. Dang, 6 weeks, 2 months, go. Enjoy yourself. Your job will be here when you get back. Mary Ellen, you just went on vacation. That was your first break in how long? 12 years. This is not okay. I know. I'm not telling you you're not okay. I'm just saying this is the norm. This is the norm.
For my situation, yeah.
I mean, Angelina, my daughter, just started her job. She gets 5 days after a year. And she has to work on Christmas and the day.
What is she doing?
She's working at a MRI lab place. Stand up MRI for people who are freaking out with the.
Yeah.
On Christmas?
She told me she did. All right, so vacay. Laughter is also on the list. Laughter is really the best medicine.
Yeah.
Laughter creates all kinds of changes neurochemically, and it also helps those in your environment. It's good for your heart. It's good for my heart. I use humor in my therapy, well, because that's my style, but also it's really necessary for them as well. All right, and then your Sabbath. All right, we can't get to environment, but this is really good stuff. So I'll get to environment. What can I get to next time? Let me see. Environment, activity, and trust. I can do 3. And then we'll just have the other 3 left.